I'm Mark Green, and I'll take you on an unbelievable ride meeting inspiring automotive enthusiasts. These are the movers and shakers, industry leaders, racers, builders, and the drivers in the automotive industry and car culture. I'll reveal their passions for automobiles and much, much more in their career choices and their personal journeys. Together, we'll unveil their triumphs and tragedies, successes and failures, and drive deep into their lives as they share their stories. You get to ride along with me on the inspirational journey, and together, we'll put the pedal to the metal here on Cars Yeah! So I'm driving through Harold, California, just south of Sacramento, and I'm here to visit Joey Giordano. He was a guest of mine on the Cars Yeah! Podcast. He restores old VWs, buses, bugs, Gias, right up my alley. Some really fun stuff. I was able to borrow this very cool Mustang convertible to drive on this incredibly beautiful day here today. We're going to learn a little bit more about Joey, learn about what he does, have a little bit of fun, maybe go for some drives. I think this is my turn up here. All right, this place is cool. Check out the cars and the buses. I'm in love. Hey, Joey, I'm here.
How you doing, Mark?
I'm doing awesome. Good to see you.
Glad you could find the place. A lot of people have a
easy
hard
to
time.
find, and I want to say thanks for the cool hat you sent me, because I probably should put it on. I might get a little sunburn. It's such a beautiful day here, but I'm so thrilled to be here, learn about straight-up dubs, learn about the cars and so forth. I'm in heaven here. I love VWs.
Well, I'm glad to have you, and why don't you jump out and we'll get started.
All right. Well, here we go. Let's have some fun. Wow, what an awesome place.
Thanks, Mark. This is my wife, Jen.
Hey,
Jen,
so good to meet you. Glad you can make it.
I need a hug.
We're huggers too.
Yeah, what an awesome place you have here. I mean, the cars, I know there's some cool people I'm going to meet here today, so let's have some fun.
Absolutely, let's do it.
So Joey, I find my old dream barn find somewhere out in the hills of California. I bring it over here to you, and I have you build me the car of my dreams to bring back my youth. So what are the different things you do, the services you provide that can get me to that reality point?
First of all, if you're gonna bring me a car, you have to be part of building it.
Cool.
So we're gonna use your skill set, whatever you have to offer, and I'm gonna fill in the blanks, and we're gonna kind of do it together. It's a relationship builder.
I can
type
offer
of
a
thing.
wallet, that's about it.
Well, that's the thing that's unique about what we do here. It's not just a drop off your car and it gets done. This isn't a business, this is a hobby shop. We do this for fun, and it's a club-oriented type of atmosphere, and it's about building camaraderie and just the passion that we all have for these cars, because they're all part of our memories and our history. So.
Exactly. So the different services, walk me through those.
What ends up happening, you'd bring me a car, it would get completely disassembled.
See, I could take the car apart, I could do that, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Just as long as you're really good at organizing things, because you got to remember where it goes. So we can do that. We get it apart, we send it out, and we usually put it on a rotisserie.
Okay.
We'll send it out to one of the local establishments that will sandblast the car down to bare metal, get it primered, and then we'll bring it back here, assess the damage, and kind of get an idea of where we want to go with it.
Expose what needs to be done.
Absolutely.
And then from there, we start deciding if I want a classic rebuild to original specs, or if I want something modern, modified. I like a little more power in the back, so then we can start talking about all those elements, from engines to paint and finish and details, all those different things.
Absolutely, and I mean, that's one of the things that are so cool about these cars. The sky's the limit with options.
Right.
And if you can do a concourse build, which you're familiar with, or you can build something that's totally unique and outside the box, like my bus that I just finished. That's something that no one's done. And you know, with the Safari windows and just the different wheel styles, it's just kind of, your options are unlimited.
And I noticed on the back you have a paint booth too, so why don't we go out there, take a look at a car that's on a rotisserie, so I kind of see what happens there, look at your paint booth, and then kind of walk me through the steps as we go through to my dream becoming a reality.
That's actually my wife's car, and she's been hounding me to get it done for the last few years.
Okay, we'll start with that, okay?
Absolutely.
All right, let's go check it out. All right.
Hey, Mark, you look like you're on one of those Autopia rides at a local amusement park or something, yeah?
You caught me playing with your wife's car here, but you know what? Carmen Gias, that's my youth. I told you that before, I had one, so this is pretty cool. I know you're restoring it for your wife, so let's kind of walk through what this is, year, make, and also this very cool room that we're in here.
So this is the paint booth. This is where all the magic happens when we're putting color and just primer whatever we need to on the car.
So what year is this Ghia?
This is a 1957. They call it a low-light Carmen Ghia. So these cars were made from 55 to 59 in this body style. It kind of has a little bit of a different headlight positioning, and the nostrils are different than a later model Carmen Ghia, which makes it unique in that way.
Are you going to do a classic restoration where this is going to go back to original, or she wants some mods?
This car is going to be fully modified. We'll probably go with the weldwood brake setup with narrowed front suspension and all air ride suspension.
And out in your shop, I saw the chassis, the old floor pan, and the transmission housing. I guess it was painted the blue color, beautiful blue this car's going to be?
Yeah, this car is going to be an Atlantis blue. It's a 2015 BMW color.
Nice.
My wife has always been a fan of the turquoises and different colors that have the blue hues, as well as I.
Very cool. Well, I'm going to go back to my fantasy drive here, attach the steering wheel, go back to my youth, and before you show me some more things, I'm just going to close my eyes and dream of what could be. So Joey, there are so many cool things to look at, but I understand this little orange bug has a very special story to it. So I'd love for you to tell me about the father-son relationship story that goes to this car.
This car is owned by Bob, one of our club members. His son, this was his first car, and he has memories of driving this car, and it sat for about 10 years. So Bob's had this idea, hey, let's get the car running for John again. He brings the car out probably about a year and a half ago, and it started coming back to life. This was called, we called this 71 Resurrection. That was our project name for this car. And there's a lot of subtle things we did to this. We updated the interior. We took the rear wheels and we widened them to 7.5 inches wide, put wider bands on them.
Yeah.
We narrowed the rear trailing arms, narrowed front end, just like the other ones that we do. It just helps with the tracking. And also, obviously, we had to build a new engine for it, so.
Is this the original color?
No, not the original color, but this is about a 20-year-old Amaron paint job. It came back to life, and we were able to polish it back up, and Bob slaves over this thing, keeping it polished up and clean like.
Yeah, it looks really cool. Let's take a little peek at the motor.
Absolutely.
Okay. So back here, this is not stock. There is nothing stock about this engine in the back of this little bug. So kind of walk me through what they did with this build.
Yeah, Mark, so this is just a dual port 1641. So that being, it's a stock stroke on the crankshaft with just a little larger pistons and the dual port heads with a set of single 34 millimeter carburetors. So there's two, but only single barrels. Everything's been powder coated and cleaned up with all the new modern stuff. Electronic ignition, electric fuel pumps, and just it makes it just a more reliable.
She gets up and scoots. I like the exhaust too, really nice what you've done there. Tucked it underneath, real clean, simple.
Yeah, the technology and the stuff that they're making nowadays, it's super clean. They can put these things in CAD programs and make it so that, they get the dimensions so that they can fit it with such close tolerances, and it works very well with this build.
Gets the job done. I like the little straight up dub sign on the bumper, kind of tells the heritage of where the car was regenerated from and so forth. One lucky young man to have you guys and his dad to bring this back to life for him, so very nice. Thanks for sharing it. Well, let's take a look at some of the other toys around here.
Absolutely.
Right? Cool. So Joey, when I walked in your shop, this little car caught my eye. 56 oval ragtop, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
As I'm sitting in this thing, it's like a vision back in time. I see an old Blaupunk radio that you said actually works.
Yep, it's an old tube radio.
Very, very cool. I would love for you to walk me around and tell me a little bit more about it, but while we're sitting in here, what are some of the things you guys do to your cars to add a little element? I know there's a little rack in here, which is pretty cool.
There's all kinds of accessories that you can buy for these, and the thing is, you kind of make the car the way you want it. I have a really good friend of mine that owns Shorty's Customs, and he's the one that makes the trays and a number of accessories for these cars. Shifter knobs, skateboarding wheels, and all kinds of things that kind of personalize the vehicle to the driver.
Yeah, it is really cool. Well, let's get out and walk around. I want you to show me more about this car because there's some neat things that you've done to this thing, right?
Absolutely.
All right. Boy, this thing is low. Well, a couple of things about this car that make it unique. One is the rag top. Were most of them rag tops back in the day?
No, the rag top was an option. And to have an original rag top car, you can tell by the VIN number, and that'll indicate whether it was original rag top or if it was grafted in. Now, prior to 1956, they did graft them in at the port.
Really?
It was an added-on option.
Nice touch. Let's look what's under the hood. All right. So what is this back here? This does not look very stock.
No, it definitely isn't, Mark. This is a 1776 displacement with Magnum 044 heads from CB Performance with a set of 40 millimeter Weber carburetors.
That didn't come like that, did it?
No, it didn't. There was an option back in the early, Ocrasa is what they called it. They're back in the early days, the 36 horsepower original engine, they had an Ocrasa upgrade for it, which obviously costed more money and gave you a little more horsepower.
Absolutely. Very cool. Well, let's look at some of the other cars you have in the shop.
Absolutely, let's do it.
All right. Hey, Joey, look what I found.
Mark, you can take the boy out of the skate park, but you can't take the skate park out of the boy, huh?
I told you coming into your shop was like bringing back my youth, right? So I got to cruise around the skateboard a little bit, but what I want to talk about was this old guy. I mean, this is such a cool deal. Tell me a little bit about this vehicle.
Well, this is a 63 single cab. Volkswagen made a number of industrial vehicles that were versions of the bus, just with pickup beds, and they also had extended cab versions as well.
Cool.
This is owned by a friend of mine named Aaron. Let me see if we can find him. Hey, Aaron!
Aaron,
Shorty, where are you at?
There you go. Aaron, how you doing, buddy?
Good, how are you?
Good. This is a great car you got here. How long have you had this?
I bought this back in '94.
94, okay. Now, I heard you talking earlier that you drove this thing to Salt Lake City from here and back.
Yeah, my son and I decided to go to a Volkswagen show in Salt Lake City.
Cool.
And so, yeah, we drove back and we put on about 2,000 miles in 3 days.
Nice. Now, if you leave these open while you're driving, you get bugs in your teeth, or?
You do. That's a risk you got to run.
Just a few. That's nature's ventilation system or air conditioning system.
It's the only AC that was available at
Absolutely. These were originally used as vehicles, like commercial vehicles, right? For hauling things around and so forth.
Yep.
But now they become very highly collectible because they're very eclectic, they're very cool. I love the graphics you have on the side with shorties, which is very nice. But the fact that you've left it natural and kind of old school, and the wood decking in the back, I mean, it's just fantastic. So thanks for bringing this here. Thanks for being a part of this incredible team.
Well, thank you.
Maybe now you should go back to work or go back to your nap, huh?
I could do that.
Okay, cool. Great to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Great VW.
Thanks.
Bye-bye. This was great. Next up, the Ghia. I saw this when we first came in, and there's something about this car that just tugs on my heartstrings, and obviously it's the finish. Looks like it's about a 66 Ghia, but there's something else going on behind this story. Whose car is this?
This is actually one of our club members, actually our president, the president of Straight Up Dubs, Ben.
Cool.
This is actually our first project we did together.
Really?
So this was pre-Werkstatt. We did a full pan restoration on this with everything underneath is brand new, but the body, obviously, we left in the same shape that it was when we found it in the field. Yeah, when he found it in the field. So.
Well, let's talk to Ben a little bit about this, because I want to hear the story
Absolutely.
behind how he found the car, what he paid for it, and why it looks the way it looks. Hey, Ben.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. So tell me a little bit about this, not a barn find, but a field find?
Field find in Merced, California here. It was originally sold off the Merced Eisenberg lot. Found it in the field, and as soon as I saw it, I knew exactly what I wanted to do with it.
Did it look exactly like this? Because obviously the paint's been lovingly rubbed on for many, many years, or did you augment this patina a little bit?
You know, for the most part, it is what it was as we found it. We did add a little bit of green into the hood area as the sun had just faded it completely. It was gone, so we wanted to just kind of finish the look a little bit, and then we just threw some clear coat on top of it.
It's got a nice look and feel. I noticed it's been kind of slammed down. It's a lowered car. It's got special wheels on it. What about the engine in the back? What'd you do there?
It's just a 1600 single port engine with dual carbs. I'm a big fan of just getting in and driving. The bigger engines you get, the more work you got to put into them. And
what's the one thing people say to you when they come up and look at this car?
a lot of people have no idea what it is.
Really?
Have no idea it was made by Volkswagen, have no idea what a Karma Ghia is.
Wow.
And you kind of tell them that is what it is in the same area as the Bugs, and they're kind of, wow.
Well, I commend you on what you put together here, because it's just got a special flavor feel. And again, when I came in the shop around all the shiny, beautiful cars, this one kind of stood out just because I knew somebody was doing something unique and different. I love what you've done with it. It's really nice. I know there's another car in here that kind of tugs on my heartstring, guys. I'm a Porsche guy. All my fans and followers of my podcast know that. There's a 356 sitting behind me. I want to go talk to you about that car. So let's go over there. All right, over here, we have one of my loves. Oh, 1965 Porsche 356C, right?
Absolutely.
Now, we've talked Volkswagens all day. That's what you mostly work on, but do you also do old Porsches?
Yeah, this is a special project I took on. It's the first one I've ever done. I like venturing out. Cars are cars to me.
Right.
And so I have a huge passion for German products. I just love the history that goes with it and just when all these cars were created. So it's kind of a personal thing.
So what have you encountered so far? This is kind of the beginning stages. I know the car's gone out, it's come back now. You get to see what you have to do. Got a little bit of rust here and there and some old leading and so forth, but what are some things that you expect are going to be a little different from doing a Volkswagen restoration?
You know as well as anybody that's involved with Porsches, this is in great shape. This car's in great shape. The one thing I've noticed is the intricacy of how the panels are put together and the overlayment as far as the body and how everything, the battery box location, and how that all comes together. It's way more complex than a Volkswagen. First of all, it's a unibody car, so it doesn't have that floor pan we talked about. So it kind of makes some different challenges in the way they put this stuff together to give it the structural integrity it needs. It's definitely different than a Volkswagen. So it would compare to, I told you earlier, I worked for Toyota and now I work for Lexus for a number of years. Same sister companies, but completely different product line.
Yeah, much higher end cars. So all hand built, beautiful old cars. I can't wait to come back and see this when it's done, because I love old Porsches, so this is going to be a labor of love.
I'd look forward to you coming back.
It'll be great. So Joey, what I want to do now is take a little ride in your bus, because that thing's so beautiful. But more importantly, I want to talk to you a little bit about this hobby business you built, the team, the people you've surrounded yourself with, and how you manage this in your life, because what you built here is incredible. So let's go for a drive, all right?
Hope you got some time on your hands.
Absolutely.
Let's do it.
After you, sir.
All right.
Joey, we're out here in the beautiful countryside of Harold, and we're taking a drive in your 69 bus, and I just want to talk to you a little bit about how you set up what I call a sidepreneur business here, because you do have a full-time job in the auto industry, but then you created this whole other business entity, club, gathering of people. When you decided to do this, when you decided to start this hobby business, did you ever think it would get as big as it's gotten?
There's only two ways to do things, the right way and the other way. And I've always, I'm a stickler about making sure things are done right. And I do research and I try to surround myself with people that can teach me or I can learn from and shadow from. I'm never gonna stop growing, and that's just kind of been one of the staples of who I am.
How do you manage your time when you do this kind of stuff?
And it is hard to balance all the aspects of my life, not only my relationship with my wife, my kids, I have older college kids, and then I have my faith as well. And I try to be as involved in anything that I can be, but trying to juggle that, take care of myself, go to the gym, do all those types of things, it's all, it's
balancing.
It's a constant struggle, and sometimes you can't wake up every day and say, this is how I want everything to be, and it's going to be in little boxes. You just have to always have the ability to be flexible and kind of roll with the punches.
Exactly.
Yeah. As far as starting this idea or concept of having a hobby shop, it just kind of evolved. And the reality is that this doesn't support my lifestyle. This business, it supports itself. I designed it, and it's used to support the shop and the overhead for that staying running. And honestly, part of the motivation behind that is that I don't ever want to have all my eggs in one basket, for lack of a better way of saying it. If I ever do need to support myself with this, I obviously can. And I mean, eventually, who knows? It may end up becoming a business.
Well, that's my next question. Is I could see as you get older and you want to maybe retire out of your first profession, is retire into, because I always say the idea of retirement, sitting around doing nothing, is a death knell. It's no way to live first. You've got to have something to do, but you've almost created your retirement before you've retired, is my vision. And the fact that this retirement in a shop like what you're doing can actually support you even more in your retirement. You can make some money, work on your own cars, have some fun. Is that part of the forward thinking?
Yeah, absolutely. This is also an expression of who I am. Cars have been a staple of my life from the time I was a boy. I mean, I told you stories about sitting in cars in the side yard, just dreaming of driving them. Yeah. And it's always been, I love working with my hands.
That's why the car hobby is so cool. You picked a really great venue for creating a future for yourself in your life. And straight up dubs the fact that You've created something out of a club mentality, become a sidepreneur job that pays for itself through work and will be a future income earner. I mean, I don't know how you figured all this out, but I think you need to write a book on life. What do you think?
I don't know about that yet, but we'll have to see in a few years. But yeah, I mean, it started out as just some guys hanging out, and with every person being the foundation and the format that we have, they've worked with me directly, and we actually get to do that. And you know, and part of that stems from a mentorship that I experienced as a teenager. 19 years old, I started working for Toyota. I had a really good friend of mine named Bruce. He invested in me, and the way I am, the loyalty I have, it pretty much comes down to I want to pay that tenfold forward and try to share that with others. So I mean,
it's very cool. Well, what you built here has impressed me to no ends, and I'm very grateful for the time you spent with me today. Everything you showed me, I mean, I want to come back and play here again. I wish you were my neighbor, because I'd probably be hanging out knocking on your door in the morning, but thank you so much for the time you've spent. This has been really, really, really cool, and nothing better than riding through the hillside in Northern California among the grapes and the olive trees, and it's just, life couldn't be any better. So buddy, thank you for a
my
awesome
pleasure.
day.
Thanks for coming out, and come back anytime. We have an open door policy.
I'll be back. This has
All
been
right.
great.
Sounds great.
Joey, this has been an incredible day. You know, I'm back in my element here, my youth of having a Carnegie, Southern California, surfing. I had so much fun. The team you've built here, the cars that you built here are absolutely extraordinary. It was absolutely great. And the ride that I got to take was so much fun. I'm wondering if I can maybe take it for one more ride. You think that's possible?
Absolutely, Mark. My wife and I have a saying, if we have something we don't share it, it's not worth having. So
Absolutely. Well, thank you.
you enjoy yourself.
This
and,
was awesome. I'll be
right.
back. I'll bring an old Gia back for you to restore for me one day.
Sounds
okay?
Sounds great.
Sounds
I'd love
good.
to do it.
Thanks. Give
Take
my best
care.
to Jen, too.
Thank you for your
All right.
time. All
See you,
right.
buddy. All right. This is going to be fun. See you, Joey.
See you, Mark. You're bringing it back, right?